Hey there, fight fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Ranch Boxing Podcast, UFC edition. And this week, we're going to mix in a little bit of boxing news with our UFC coverage. Unfortunately, A-Dog's not going to be able to be with us this episode. Hopefully, we can catch up with him later in the week to go over the last pay-per-view card of the year and the last pay-per-view card for ESPN, Jan versus Merab. So I wanted to go over UFC 322. Unfortunately, we missed last week, and we weren't able to go over this. I really wanted to go over it because it was a super good card. It was stacked. I thought it delivered. There was some criticism about the two main events. I didn't have a problem with it, but I thought it was a really good card, and it's starting to give us a roadmap about how things are developing, especially in the welterweight division, and that was completed by the Ian Machado Gary card against Belal. So let's start with the welterweight title bout, the main event between the champion Jack Della Maddalena, JDM, versus Islam Makhachev, the former lightweight champion, and this was pretty much a double champ status fight, with Islam moving up from lightweight and completely controlling JDM from the beginning. JDM had nothing for Islam. It was a good fight for Islam, and we'll see where JDM goes from here. Unfortunately for him, he goes into the Lion's Den in the welterweight division, and we'll see how what transpires from this. But for right now, Islam looks like a king. He is conquering the UFC. I think everything is going the way he planned. Right now, he looks unbeatable, and we'll see how things pan out for him later on. In the co-main event, women's flyweight title bout, another double champ going for double champ status. Zhang Weili, the former strawweight, but just kind of like the current strawweight champion, goes up in weight to take on Valentina Shevchenko, and Valentina just much too much for Zhang Weili, and Weili never had a chance in this fight. She could never establish anything against Valentina. Valentina looking strong as ever. That was a 5-round unanimous decision. That was the same as the welterweight bout. That was a 5-round unanimous decision. And although they were unanimous decisions, all 5 rounds, JDM never had he was never in that, and Weili was never in this one at all. But I applaud them. I'm not trying to throw any shade at them. But I mean, they got dominated. On the undercard, it was Michael Morales versus Sean Brady. Michael Morales, somewhat the newcomer. He's number 8 against number 2. Sean Brady coming off that big win against Leon Edwards. And I thought Morales was going to have a little bit tougher time with Sean Brady. And I want to talk a little bit more about this. I'll talk about it later, but it was a big first round knockout, 3 minutes, 27 seconds in the first round before he took care of Sean Brady. For me, there's still some questions about Morales. I saw a few things in here. I mean, it looked great. Yes, it looked great, but there's a few things with Morales. It started to worry me just a bit. But we'll go over that in a little bit. I want to talk about some of the things I saw in that fight. Another welterweight bout. It was another performance of the night because the Brady Morales, that was a performance of the night. Number 4, Leon Edwards, the former champion, taking on number 9, Carlos Prates. And this was another devastating knockout. Leon Edwards, unfortunately for him, it looks like his title challenging days may be over. Carlos Prates absolutely sleeps him silly, leaving a smile on his face. 1 minute and 28 seconds into the second round, and Prates, I thought he lost that first round, and I was kind of like, oh man, what's going on? Leon looked pretty good for a second there, and then he got touched and he got caught, and that was all she wrote for Leon Edwards. The first fight of the main card, I was completely wrong about this one. Number 9, Beneil Dariush taking on number 13, Benoit Saint-Denis, and it took 16 seconds into the first round for Benoit Saint-Denis to absolutely sleep Beneil Dariush. Dariush getting him with a nice leg kick and then getting hit right after that. It was super quick. I did think Beneil was going to win that. I thought even if he didn't win, I thought he was going to have a little bit better showing. He just did not. And I think I don't know. I think the best days for Beneil Dariush may be behind him. A few other fights on the prelims I wanted to go over. I won't go over all of them. Maybe I'll just give you the results. But Bo Nickel with a third round knockout over Rodolfo Vieira. And this is I thought Bo Nickel was gonna win. And I was giving Rodolfo Vieira, a little bit of a chance. Bo Nickel looked like Sugar Ray Leonard in there. I don't know what's up with Rodolfo Vieira, and I'm not saying anything. I don't want to talk a lot of crap. But I don't know how you get to the UFC. I don't know how you get to this level of fighting without slipping. Like, do you know how to slip? Do you know how to block? The defense was completely absent. Now, I'm not saying shenanigans were happening in this fight. I'm not saying that Bo Nickel was basically fighting a heavy bag, and I'm not even saying Rodolfo Vieira's fighting acumen isn't good. I it I think it is. I'm just wondering why he wasn't defending punches that you could completely see coming. I'm not in there. I understand I'm not trying to, but it just knowing what I know about it just looked a little weird that you're not slipping at all. You're not even trying to slip. You're not blocking. You're not parrying. There was nothing there, and it looked a little weird that Bo Nickel, who's not known for striking, looked like Ray Leonard in there. It seemed a little weird for me, but congratulations for Bo Nickel. Um, he's going back up in the middleweight division. We'll see where he goes from here. I'd like to see. I mean, I don't know how his striking gets so good so fast. We have Gregory Rodriguez versus Roman Kopylov, and Rodriguez gets a unanimous decision in that one. Aaron Blanchfield with a second round submission against Tracy Cortez. At this one, Aaron Blanchfield. So I was previewing this with A Dog. I was saying how nasty Blanchfield is. I like her. She's a nasty lady. She's got resting bitch face, and I think that's her character. I think that serves her well. Here and then the Friday at the ceremonial weigh-in, she comes out. She's all smiles, and I started to get a little concerned. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Why is she all smiles? And then she comes out. She blows a kiss on the scale. And yeah, okay, I'm glad she's a happy person, but this is the night before the fight. I don't like this. I don't like this nice person. I want the nasty. Where's nasty Blanchfield? That's who I want. And Tracy Cortez, she is who he is. She comes out and yeah, fine. So I'm like, okay. Next day, the fight time. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Aaron Blanchfield comes in. She just looks a little too happy. And in that first round, it looks like I thought Tracy Cortez got the best of her. I gave the first round to Tracy. And I'm like, what is going on here? What's going on here? And then in that second round, I think Aaron Blanchfield got a little bit of like, whoa, what's going on? That's not you. You need to be nasty. Go in there and be nasty lady. All right? Go in there and show her what you're. Don't be all smiles and blowing kisses. That's not going to get it done. All right? You need to go in there and I just think the whole nasty lady persona does her so much better. And in that second round, she comes out and just takes it to Cortez, taking her completely out, submitting her, and then she gets up, throws her mouth. That's what you need to be. All right. Let's not make it look pretty. Let's get in there. Let's get dirty and just be a nasty person. Be a mean person. I think when she's mean, that's when she fights best. Congratulations to Aaron Blanchfield. She gets her revenge on Tracy Cortez. I just think she needs to make sure that she's more mean. Forget the smiles thing. I don't want to see it. I want the nasty person. Featherweight bout, Malcolm Wellmaker coming in with a lot of hype. We thought this was far gone conclusion. We didn't even preview Ethan Ewing because he was a late sub. He was supposed to fight another guy. I forget I can't remember his name. And he pulls out. Ethan Ewing comes in. I mean, Wellmaker was already a huge a huge favorite. And then Ethan Ewing comes in, and he looks so much smaller. So I'm like, oh man, this sucks. Ewing comes in, and actually, I was talking with A-Dog before this, and he goes, "Hey, I seen Ewing. He's pretty good, but he's still gonna lose. But Ethan Ewing's he's pretty good." And I'm like, okay. And Ethan Ewing comes in and just dogs out Wellmaker, and can't Wellmaker can never. It's like he was playing a little bit, and then he just could not catch up. Ethan Ewing coming through with the upset special, and even though here, it says plus 130 underdog. I thought it was gonna be. I thought it should have been more because I didn't think Ewing had any chance. And he comes in, gets that win. It's a big win. I heard that he had just fought a week before. And so, I mean, congratulations to Ethan Ewing at stopping the hype train of Malcolm Wellmaker. I hope Wellmaker gets, I hope he does come back. I'm still interested in seeing him, but now I'm interested in seeing how Ethan Ewing does. I want to talk about some early prelims here. Kyle Dawkins with a first round submission of Gerald Mearshark. And I expected this, but I didn't think I expected Dawkins to be so dominant. He looks great. Good for him. It's good to see him back in the UFC, and it's good to see him being dominant once again. There is and then there's Baisinger Susurkayev. He's a hype train from the Contender Series. He's fought like 25 times in this last year. No, I'm just kidding. He's fought a few times though, but he's been fighting very consistently since that fight on the Contender Series. He fought a guy named Eric McConaughey, and McConaughey looked like he looked like he could totally pull off an upset. And actually, I thought he looked pretty good. I was like, oh man, Susurkaya was a 1,050 favorite, a plus 675 underdog for McConaughey. And I wasn't sure about that. McConaughey looked pretty good. And then he started fighting, and I was like, oh man, McConaughey looked pretty good. I thought he at least won one of the first two rounds. And then in the third round, Susurkaya was able to get to McConaughey and knocked him out. Congratulations to Susurkayev. He is strong. He looks ready to go. He's a middleweight, and I think he is ready to start getting into those bigger names at the middleweight. He looks like someone who we may be looking at a future champion, or at least a future title contender. All right, so let's go over this just a little bit, okay? Because we have Sean Brady. He lost to Morales, first round knockout. That's never good. And Morales, we still don't know what's going on, like how his grappling does. They never ended up on the ground. So we don't know. I mean, I know he has a judo history, but we don't know how he's going to respond to it. He's never had to. That's a good thing and a bad thing. But Michael Morales, here's a little bit I'm kind of worried about him. He has power. He has timing. But one thing I saw that I wasn't liking is that I hope he's not falling in love with the knockout. I hope he's not falling in love with his power, because he hit Sean Brady. You could tell Sean Brady was affected. He's trying to regain, and Michael Morales just goes off on him, like winging punches, big haymaker type punches. He's winging punches, and I actually got kind of worried at that point, thinking like, oh, dude, all Sean Brady has to do is, if he can pose himself for a second, throw a straight, and he can completely catch that. So although Michael Morales did a great job by taking out Sean Brady so quick, so early, but I did see a few things with Michael Morales that I hope that they get cleaned up. Don't get too excited. I don't know if he was fighting somebody like a really, really good striker, or someone who maybe wasn't as hurt as Brady, being able to just completely stop, counter, and beating him to the punch. That can happen. He does need to clean that up. But Morales looks great, and I'm looking forward to where he ends up, because he's in a deep welterweight division. Prates looked I had Prates losing that first round against Leon Edwards. I thought Leon Edwards was great, and I was like, oh, here we go, because I had picked Prates to win. And I thought, oh man, maybe I counted Leon Edwards out too fast. But then he was able to catch him. in the second round, and Leon Edwards looks a little like he may be a little soft in the chin in there. So I mean, it's unfortunate for Leon Edwards. Carlos Prates, he continues his rise there, only losing to Ian Machado Gary, who looked really good this last week as well. So we have Morales, we have Prates, Sean Brady, not out of it yet, but he's gonna have to go back to the drawing board. Leon Edwards, I don't know. I like seeing him fight. He's a good fighter, but I don't see him kind of. He's number 4. He lost to number 9. I see him falling out of the top 5, and we'll see what happens with him. So a week later, from Qatar. I know it's called Qatar, and I think Qatar sounds way better. From Qatar, it was Arman Sarukian versus Dan Hooker, and also on the co-main event, Belal Muhammad, the former champion, versus Ian Machado Gary. And Ian Machado Gary was number 6, Belal number 2. So let's start with Arman Sarukian, who, I mean, I want to say I feel bad for Arman Sarukian with what's going on with the fight in the fights in January, but let's go there first. Number 1, Arman Sarukian, the lightweight bout between Sarukian and Dan Hooker at number 6. Hooker comes in, and I think he gets dominated in the first round, and then in the second round it was all over. He gets submitted by Arman Sarukian. Sarukian looking really good. He looks just as good as ever. And then so you would think that Arman Sarukian would probably get the next crack at Topuria, and then in the lightweight division, but Topuria had some surprises for us. Before we get to that, but number 2, Belal Muhammad, the former champion, welterweight bout, Ian Machado Gary, number 6, and it was a 3-round fight. I wish it was 5. It wasn't, but still, I think we don't have to wonder who would have won. I think even if it was a 5-round fight, Ian Machado Gary completely would have won. I thought he may have lost 1 round, maybe, but there's no I don't think there's any discussion about it. Ian Machado Gary at this time is better than Belal. Belal, actually, I thought Machado Gary was going to win, and but I didn't think he'd have such a hard time with Belal. I thought Belal was a little, kind of on the down slope, but I thought he looked pretty good. And I was kind of like, dang, man, like Belal doesn't look so bad. I think Belal is still a player in the welterweight division. He's a great wrestler, and I think he's not to be underestimated. I will see where he drops in the rankings. Ian Machado Gary moving up, and we'll see where Ian Machado Gary goes. I have my own opinions. We'll get into that because that's the news right now. The news is the welterweight division. Who gets the title? Who gets the title shot? Also in the lightweight, who gets the title shot? And decisions already have been made in January for that, and we'll get into that. People completely upset about that one. Also on the Qatar card, light heavyweight bout, Volkan Ozdemir, number 9, versus number 14, Alonzo Menafield, and Volkan Ozdemir taking care of business with a first round knockout over Alonzo Menafield, and Volkan Ozdemir looking pretty good. So he might be trying to make another run at light heavyweight. Jack Hermanson, welterweight bout, getting knocked out by Orolabai. I can't pronounce the name. Orolabai from Kyrgyzstan. Sorry about that, but I can't pronounce the name. Anyways, Orolabai gets a first round knockout against Jack Hermanson. And Jack was a middleweight, goes on the welterweight. Man, he looked really skinny. I don't know if welterweight is the spot he needs to be at. Anyways, good job. Congratulations to Orlova. Here we go. And then Waldo Cortez Acosta. He's just fighting, and he just keeps fighting. He's got another fight in January. Big fight against Derek Lewis. He comes in, first round knockout against Shamil Gaziev. I like to say Gaziev because there was a boxer named Gaziev. Cortez Acosta, number 6 against number 11, Gaziev, and he gets a first round knockout. Performance of the night, looking good as ever. He's got a real test against Derek Lewis in January, and we'll get more into that in January. So that card was pretty good. There was some other cards, some other fights on that looked pretty good, but those were the main ones. And I would say the big fight on that one was Machado Gary versus Belal Muhammad, and that's going to give Ian Machado, put him in a great position to challenge Islam Makhachev, and he's not shying away from it either. You would think the way Islam looked, he would be shying away a little bit. Maybe people aren't so eager to fight Islam, or maybe they're more eager to fight Islam after he gets a few fights underneath his belt at welterweight. Nope. Ian Machado Gary wants him now, and we'll talk about if that is the right decision for the UFC to make. We all know they make their own decisions, but we have our own opinions. All right, let's move on here. We're going to talk about Merab Dvalishvili against Petr Yan 2, and that is coming up Saturday, December 6th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm going to go over this quick because I'm hoping. The only reason I'm going over it now is because I'm hoping I can go over it deeper with A-Dog later on this week. We'll see. I know he's been real busy. The dude, he does a lot of work, and it's a very busy time for him. For me, is busy too. I just put up the Christmas lights, so yeah, I'm busy too, and I had to pull out the Christmas tree, but it's all done. I'm done with that, and we can move on to concentrating on the fights here. Also, I didn't mention that here in Tucson, Arizona, it's really looking great here. Great day. This is a great time here in Tucson. It's not too hot, not too cold. I always love this time of the year, and it's when we can, if we want, we can get our projector out and watch the fights in the backyard. Anyways, here we go. Saturday, December 6th. The champion, Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan, number 3. And it looks like Merab is a huge favorite in this one. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it too deep. Dang it, man. Like, I should pick Dvalishvili. I should. I might change my mind. I might change it. I gotta research it a little bit. I gotta talk to A-Dog, because sometimes he does change my mind. Now, what I was saying, I think Merab is better than Petr Yan. I do, because they fought before, and Merab didn't have he had no problems with Petr Yan. It was and I believe that was a 3-round fight. It wasn't 5 rounds. Now, Merab has been fighting a lot. He's been very active. He's an active champion. I like Merab. I love active champions. And if you're gonna lose your belt, it's because you're active. Maybe not always because you don't always lose to the better fighter. Merab wanted another fight this year. He goes, put me in December. Put me in. And although I'm all about it, fight as much as you can. I love it. This may be something he may regret. I think Merab is the better fighter, but at this time, I'm thinking Petr Yan might pull off an upset here, because it catches up with you. And I know he trains a lot, and that's it's not just the fighting, it's the training camps. You think you feel great, and they just catch up to you, and you're like, what was going on? I couldn't do it. And he had a tough fight against Corey Sandhagen. He was never losing. He probably won every round, but it was 5 rounds, and Sandhagen was game the entire time. And like I said, I haven't gone over this completely because I don't want to click too much here and look up the age and how long. Petr Yan, a former champion, I think Yan may be striking while the iron is hot, and he may catch Merab, on a bad day. We'll see what happens. I might change my mind, but that's what's I don't know. It's not a tough. It shouldn't be a tough fight. Merab should be the favorite. He is, and everyone should be going with Merab. He is the smart money. If you're putting down money, he's the smart money. But I don't know. I just see something. I'm just kind of feeling it here. In the co-main event, it's a flyweight title bout between Alessandro Pantoja, the champion, versus number 1 Joshua Van. And I don't know about Joshua Van being number 1. I know he beat Brandon Royval. I think they're kind of moving Joshua Van a little fast. Pantoja is the favorite, 238 right now, against a 190 plus 195 underdog for Joshua Van. Man, I don't know. I don't see Pantoja having any problems with Van. I think they pushed Van a little bit too fast. I'm not saying I wouldn't have taken the fight because when the title fight comes knocking, you got to answer that door. As Arman Sarukian has learned that, hey man, you can't. It is very tough to like not not take that title shot. And I know he was compromised. I'm talking about Sarukian, but we'll get more into that. I got something to say about that. Another uh, another fight on that card. Flyweight bout number 2, Brandon Moreno, who probably gave Pantoja his hardest challenge. I actually thought Brandon Moreno won that fight against Pantoja, that last one, against Tetsuro Taira, number 5, and it looks like Brandon Moreno's a minus 102 favorite. Actually, no, it's minus 118. So this is almost an even card. This is a tough one. Yeah, Brandon Moreno, always exciting. We'll see what's up with Tetsuro Taira. I got Brandon Moreno winning this right now off not even researching it up even a little bit. So we'll see what's up with this. But right now, I got I think Brandon Moreno is the only one in the flyweight division who has anything for Pantoja right now. Maybe I'm overlooking somebody. I don't know. Like I said, I gotta look it up. This is just a preview of this December 6th card, and the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm hoping we get A-Dog in here, but if we don't, I wanted to at least talk about it. Next fight, bantamweight bout number 10, the former double champion Henry Cejudo versus the up-and-comer Peyton Talbot. And it looks like Peyton Talbot is actually the favorite in this. So that's crazy to me a little bit. I think Cejudo is it's still pretty good. I thought he was doing well against Sterling when he had that fight. Peyton Talbot is an up and comer. He did lose, and he had a little hiccup there. I think he learned from that loss. I think he got serious, and his last fight, he did really well. He was supposed or he was the underdog, and I don't think he's ever been the underdog, but he came through because I had picked him in that last fight, and he came through like a champ. I like Talbot in this fight at this moment. I gotta look. I know who Cejudo's fought. I mean, I know the history. I mean, I don't even have to look it up. I think I'm gonna go with Talbot, and I don't see myself staying away from this. So you got number 10 Cejudo against not ranked Peyton Talbot. That's a big step up for Talbot. We'll see what happens with this, but that's a good fight. I like that. Light heavyweight bout, the first card on the main card, number 5, Jan Blachowicz, former champion, versus Bogdan Guskov, number 11, from Uzbekistan. I'll be honest, I don't know Guskov that well. I'll have to look it up. I'm sure I've seen him. I just don't remember at this point. And it looks like Blachowicz is a bit of a favorite in this. That looks like a decent fight. We'll see how that one goes. Let's see if there's anything here on the prelims that looks decent. Number 13, Grant Dawson, Manuel Torres. Yeah, I like Grant Dawson. He's a good fighter. Is he the one that lost to Bobby Green real quick? That one, I forget if it was. Anyways, lightweight bout, Terrence McKinney versus Christian Duncan. Women's flyweight bout, Macy Barber making her return. Number 5, Macy Barber making her return against number 9, Karine Silva. That's a good fight. We'll see how Macy Barber bounces back after her no-show that last time against Aaron Blanchfield. Early prelims here. Marvin Vettori on the early prelims against Bruno Ferreira. We'll see. That's one to keep your eye on. Lightweight bout, Edson Barboza versus Jalen Turner. That's another good. That's a good fight. I've always liked Jalen Turner. He's sometimes hit or miss. That's a Barboza, the veteran. He's been there. He's not. He was never hit or miss. Maybe lately because he's kind of getting on he's on the back end, the back nine of his career. And yeah, there's a lot more fights here. I'll have to research some of these to see if there's anything compelling in these. All right, so let's get to what's going on with the UFC as we move forward. So you have Morales beating Brady, and you have let's talk about the welterweight division a little bit. All right, and I'm going to bring up the welterweight because it's completely full here. All right, let's get to the rankings. And it looks like Islam Makhachev, the champion at the welterweight division. I want to talk about the welterweight division here. And you have JDM, Jack Della Maddalena, goes to number 1. You have Ian Machado Gary at number 2. He goes up 4 spots. Shavkat Rakhmonov goes up 1 spot, and he's number 3. Michael Morales going up to number 4, or going down to number 4, apparently it says here. I'm not sure when they got this because he was number 8 a little while ago. Belal Muhammad at number 5, Carlos Prates at number 6, Sean Brady at 7, and Kamaru Usman number 8. And the reason I'm going down to number 8 with Kamaru Usman is because there has been a lot of rumors, and it looks like Makhachev also wants to fight Kamaru Usman in a kind of John Jones versus Stipe Miocic type of fight, a lifetime achievement fight for Kamaru Usman, trying to give him one last title shot. Let me tell you why I don't agree with that at all. Okay, Kamaru Usman, and I like Kamaru Usman. He was a good champion, a dominant champion. He's number 8. He beat Joaquin Buckley in his last fight. I don't how that if this was the heavyweight division, or if this was the flyweight division, maybe. Yeah, flyweight division, I would say, okay, maybe something like that. But there's so many heavy hitters. There's so many fights. There's so many people, so much talent in this division. And what are you going to get out of Makhachev? 2 fights a year? You're not going to get 3. So you're willing to give Makhachev, out of his 2 fights a year, you got like 7 guys here, 6 guys at least, that are probably could be ready for a title shot next fight. But you're saying you want to go down and give number 8 Kamaru Usman a shot. And I'm and I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite later when we talk about the January card. Look, to me, who has the best chance of beating Islam Makhachev? To me, it's Shavkat Rakhmonov. But I understand he didn't even fight in 2025. The last time he fought was against Ian Machado Gary, which he won. Was it spectacular? No. I didn't think it was spectacular. I think it's spectacular that he even beat Machado Gary, because Ian Machado Gary looks really good right now. And the way he handled Belal Muhammad, it's hard to argue about how good Ian Machado. And I'll tell you this. I was a big fan of Shavkat Rakhmonov. He's my second favorite fighter in the UFC. I'm not gonna lie. I might be biased. He's my second favorite fighter in the UFC, and I didn't even like Machado Gary at all. Really, I thought he was arrogant and blah blah. And I thought he was trying to be a wannabe Conor, but he's not. The dude can fight, and he fights all the time, and he's active. And I'm not gonna say he's made me a fan, but like, I don't mind him now, and I kind of like. I like the way he conducts himself. He has a little bit of shenanigans, talks some shit. So I'm like, okay, cool. But the dude can fight. It's undeniable. He can fight. Is he ready for Islam? I'm surprised he wants Islam so fast. But he does, and I like that attitude. He wants right at him. I think Shavkat has the best chance of beating Islam. Now, he's coming off the injury. He's got to. I'm wondering is he really back? He says he'll be back by February. That means he could get the next title shot against Islam Makhachev. I think if he's really ready and they offer it to him, I think he should take it. I actually think he should fight one more time. And I'm not saying he has to fight one of these top guys, although the UFC usually makes you do that. So that's tough. I would like him to get a comeback fight, make sure he's not injured. Because I know if he's out for a year, it must have been pretty serious. So I would like to see him take another fight, kind of get back into it. And I wouldn't say that if he was going to fight like JDM or something like that for the title, but he's fighting Islam Makhachev. That's a tough fight. You want to make sure you're good, but you know what? If they offer to him, it's like I said, it's hard to say no. And not only that, you don't know when that this shot is coming again, as Sarukian has found out, and Shavkat as well, because he had a title shot that he pulled out of, gave it to JDM. JDM gets the title. All right, so I don't want to make this. Let's not make this complicated, okay? Islam, who's he going to fight next? If it's not Shavkat, I think Shavkat deserves it, although he has been out a year. That is tough to swallow a bit. But if you're going to give it to anybody, I don't think Kamaru Usman, he shouldn't even be mentioned. I think Ian Machado Gary is in the position to take that fight. I don't think he'll win, but he seems to be confident that he will. And he's been calling out Islam. He's been doing the rounds. He's been on social media. He's been calling him out. I think he's doing a good job of that. He does. I think he should get under the skin of Islam Makhachev. So Islam wants to fight him instead of Kamaru Usman. And you have the whole Irish McGregor Khabib thing. I mean, I don't think there's anything to that. He's pushing that a little bit. Good for him. If whatever he needs to do to get that fight, if he wants it, then go ahead and do it. I think he's taking the proper steps. I think the fight is interesting. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he'll win. I just think he'll be a heavy favorite. But if it's not Shavkat, I think it should be Machado Gary. Shavkat, he should fight Kamaru Usman. If you think Usman's that good, why not fight Usman on a comeback fight? Make sure you're good, and then he can fight the winner of Makhachev versus Ian Machado Gary. And then people talking about Morales. I think Morales is a little too green to be going up against Makhachev, or I mean, no one's really mentioned Morales, but they're like, oh, Morales this, Morales that. You know what? He looks good, but I think he has a few things to iron out. Morales versus JDM. I like that fight too. That would be the number 4 guy, which is Michael Morales, against the number 1 guy, JDM. And if JDM wants to get back into title if he wants a rematch at some point in the next 2 years, he's gonna have to take out some of these young names that got fire on them. A Prates, a Morales. Now people are talking about Morales versus Prates, and if the UFC wants to take 2 young, big hitters, entertaining guys, and put them against each other, all right. I mean, I'll watch it. I love that. From a business standpoint, I mean, why would you do that? Maybe put Prates against put him against JDM, or against Belal, or against Kamaru. There's a lot of, you want to build up your guys a little bit. Morales looks like a star. Prates looks like a star. Can they beat these guys? I don't know. But if you're gonna, right now, I don't think they'll have any. For Islam, that's gonna be tough. You know, Prates lost to Machado Gary, and I didn't see anything there that would make me think that he could beat Makhachev. He's just super exciting right now, and I think he needs to work. I think him against Kamaru would be a good one too, and see how he deals with the ground game, because it wasn't working against Machado Gary. That's how he got that win. So I think they need to pump the brakes on Morales. Prates, I like the fight. I mean, it's good, but do you really need to I think you kind of want to groom your these young, exciting guys, and then you have people like Belal coming off a loss, and you have JDM coming off a loss, and maybe that's the fight they need to take to if they want to get back into the conversation of things. And Kamaru, same thing. If he really believes that he deserves a shot at Islam Makhachev, then beat one of these guys. Prates, beat Morales. Do I want to see Kamaru Usman versus Belal Muhammad? Not really. I don't. Okay, if it's on, it's on. But it's all right. It doesn't really say much. Whoever wins that, you got to beat JDM, Morales, Prates. And then Sean Brady's he's going to be looking for a big name. Maybe he's looking like maybe he's going to be like, well, give me Prates since I lost to Morales. I got to come back. I'll take Prates. I'll watch that too. You know, I want to see if Sean Brady feels like he needs to get back into this fire, and he needs a redo against another striker. And it's not like Leon Edwards. He had that first round against Prates. So where do we go from here? My opinion is I would give it to Ian Machado Gary. I want to see the fight. It looks good. And I think Makhachev should fight him. Is it his? Because he was saying it's your responsibility. It's to fight the best. I think Shavkat is the best. Or I should say the second best. I do think Islam is the best welterweight in the world right now, and Shavkat is gonna take some, it's gonna take some real good training to win that fight. But I actually think it's winnable for Shavkat. And then Machado Gary, I want to say it may be winnable for him. Uh, and I think that's the best. I think that's how they can capitalize best on the welterweight division. There's and this is a good problem to have. You have so many good fighters. Jack Della Maddalena, JDM's still good. Machado Gary's very good. Shavkat's good. Morales, he's on fire. Belal's still good. I like I said, I thought he did pretty well. I didn't think he was going to do so well against Ian Machado. I thought he did pretty good. He's still a player. Prates, he's on fire. And Brady, also very good. Kamaru, like I said, I think Kamaru is good. He's just yesterday's champion. And I mean, if he doesn't want to fight one of these new guys or one of these heavy hitters like Shavkat, then I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So that's that's my opinion right there. Ian Machado Gary, I think I want him in the next fight against Makhachev. I would like to see Shavkat take one busy fight, one get back fight before he takes on that winner. The thing about it is, if Machado Gary actually beats Islam Makhachev, do you do the rematch? I don't know. These are all questions that would have to be answered because you're only going to get 2 fights a year out of these guys, maybe 3, maybe, and that's a big if. You can probably count on 2, hopefully. If no one gets injured. All right, let's move on to the welterweight division. It's a good problem to have, but let's move on to the lightweight division here. So it was announced UFC 324, the first fight of the year the first pay-per-view of the year. It may be the first fight of the year on I'm not sure if there's any other fight cards. So no, it's the first fight. So the last fight of the last card of the year is still on ESPN, and it's Royval versus Cape. The first pay-per-view, the first card of the year for 2026 is UFC 324, and that is going to be for the lightweight interim bout, number 4 Justin Gaethje versus number 5 Paddy Pimblett. And this has been causing a big stir with everybody. So apparently Topuria has some personal issues going on. I read some things. I'm not sure what the personal issue is. People said something about divorce. I don't know. But either way, it's personal issues. Good for him. He is going to take his time with that. I completely understand that. He doesn't want to hold the division. The UFC can do whatever they want, and it looks like they're choosing to make an interim champion. Now, the big news is Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Why is Sarukian not in this? And I said I've seen something like it's disrespectful or this and this about how can you get Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, that it's turning into boxing, it's turning into WWE rankings being nothing. I can totally see that argument. Paddy Pimblett is number 5. He's exciting, he's popular, and maybe that's why they picked him. He was being thrown around as fighting Topuria for the championship. They had a little bit of beef. I can, I see that, but Topuria is the champion. How did Justin Gaethje get himself into this position? Well, he did say, if I don't fight for a title next, I'm out of here. And I don't really like that that position. But also, and disclaimer here, Justin Gaethje he's my favorite fighter in the UFC. He has been for a while. So I might be a little bit biased here. The one thing I do like about this is that Justin Gaethje has come through for the UFC with exciting fights. He has come through filling in, not dropping out, taking in substitute opponent, like opponents will drop out and he'll fight them no matter what. And he's adapted to the conditions of the UFC. and I think he's been a good athlete for them. I think he's been a good sport about everything. Not only that, like when I was at the UFC X this last year, Gagey was there. There were a lot of other people there, but he seems to be out there, and he's out there for the UFC constantly. Does that give him the right at number 4 to get a interim title shot? Look, if you want people to do that for you, Dana White, if the UFC wants people to do that for their company, I mean, I'm not saying he has the right. He shouldn't be like, oh, it's owed to me. I don't think anything's owed to anybody in the UFC. But if you're gonna be that good of a sport, if you're gonna help out, if you're gonna put yourself on the line, taking fights, um, last minute, or taking another or switching opponents last minute, and not only that, every time he's in there, he's putting on super exciting fights. You don't know what might happen in a Justin Gaethje fight. He may knock someone out. He may get knocked out. Sometimes it seems like he doesn't want to lose by decision. Or a decision to happen at all. Sometimes it's like if I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose on my face. I'm gonna lose on my back. Um, he's gonna be, and that makes for exciting fights. This is the first main event of 2026 on a new platform, Paramount Plus. Did that have anything to do with it? Probably. It probably did. That you want subscribers, you want exciting fights, and unfortunately for Sarukian, I like Sarukian the way he fights. The dude stops people. He's dominant. I don't. I'm not gonna lie. I think Sarukian is at least the second best lightweight in the world. I don't. I think he beats Justin Gaethje. I think he beats Paddy Pimblett, and I'm not sure about it, but I might say he beats Saporia. But Sarukian did have that. He had that title shot against Islam Makhachev, and he hurt his back. That's fair. I think it's completely fair. But he hasn't fought since before that, except for this until this last Dan Hooker fight. Does Dan Hooker fight give you, even though you're number one, does that catapult you into a title fight? Yeah, well, you are number one, and you did fight who they threw in front of you. They could have thrown Justin Gaethje, but he didn't want to fight a non-title fight. They could have thrown Paddy Pimblett in with Sarukian. They could have asked Sarukian if he was going to be ready by January, and if you're not, we're going to move on. I don't know this. I don't know these things. I'm just a fan here. I'm not. I'm putting my fanager hat on here. So I don't know these insights. I don't know if they offered it to Sarukian. Maybe they should have. And if he's not ready, he's not ready. And they can say, hey, we offered it to you. And he can say, well, a month's not enough time. And yeah, well, that's the way it goes. Either if you're not ready, you're not ready. We're gonna give it to somebody else. And it's kind of sucks for Sarukian, because the interim champ, whoever wins out of Gaethje Pimblett, they get Topuria next, leaving Sarukian out till either December of 2026 or at best, you're talking early 2027. That's a tough pill to swallow for Sarukian. I feel him. I see where he's coming from. He had that tweet, make it make sense. I've seen other people, Ariel Helwani, he's all upset about it. Well, not upset, but he had his opinions about it. What do you guys think? If anybody has any comments on this, throw them in there. I mean, I might be wrong on this. I do, but this looks like a good fight. Number 4, Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett. I don't know who's gonna win. I mean, people. I would think the smart money. I don't have any odds here yet. I think the smart money might be on Paddy Pimblett, but you never know what's gonna happen with Justin. This is the last time Justin. This is his last shot. He was the interim champion before when he beat Tony Ferguson. That's another thing. He beat Tony Ferguson when no one was beating Tony Ferguson. He beats him. I think he completely changed Tony Ferguson's career. And then he does lose to. Oh, he lost to Oliveira. He lost to Holloway. Yeah, he has some losses, but that's what's good about the UFC. Losses don't completely define you. You don't lose shots just from losses, and I think that is a good thing. And he's always been exciting. Paddy Pimblett, I think he's an exciting fighter as well. He can grapple. He has striking. I like this fight. for the new year, and I'm not hating it as much. But like I said, I could be biased. I love seeing Justin Gaethje, as you know, I love watching him. I think every time he fights, it's exciting. He loses, he wins, and the guy takes losses as well as he takes wins. So I'm excited about that. And he's got to know this is the last chance he has to ever becoming a full-fledged lightweight champion. He's been interim before, but this is his last shot. And Paddy Pimblett, he's still at the somewhat beginning of his career, and we'll see what happens in this fight. Now, another thing people have been getting upset about is that this is the main event and it's an interim title bout, and the actual bantamweight champion Kayla Harrison is taking on the former champion Amanda Nunes, the former champion who didn't lose her belt. She retired and now she's coming out of retirement to fight Kayla Harrison. Thank God this fight is at the end of the month, giving Kayla a month to make that weight, and not having to completely sacrifice her holidays here. So this is a good fight. Now, yeah, it's not. It's the co-main event. Is that disrespectful? It's business. It's a business decision. You still get to see the fight. It's still 5 rounds. You want to end the night. I think you always want to end the night exciting, because in that UFC 322, we had Prates knocking out Leon, and then you had Morales knocking out Brady, and then you had the 2 championship fights that people were like, eh. And you know what? I won't lie. I was at a bar that night, and those 2 other the Morales fight and the Prates fight, people they were going crazy. And then here comes Makachev against JDM, and it's kind of like, eh. I mean, it was good. I thought it was good. I liked the fight. Other people, I saw the mood, and it wasn't like it was before. And the Valentina Away Lee fight, that added to it. The mood wasn't the same. They're trying to make this a banger card for their first Paramount Plus card. I can completely see that. Sucks for Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes to be to give them the co. I don't know how big a deal that is to them. I don't know if that affects their money, but either way, it's a good fight. I'm glad I'm gonna see it, so I don't have a problem with that. Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. This shows you that they're trying to make this card a banger as far as like big name. Sean O'Malley on the third fight down against Song Yadong. You can see what they're trying to do. And then, like I said, number 5, Waldo Cortez Acosta. How many times has this guy got to fight? He's fought like 3 times in the last few months, and he's going to fight Derek Lewis. So this shows you that what they're trying to do. Arnold Allen versus John Silva. Thank God John Silva's back, and he's didn't get punished at all for the shenanigans he did after his that fight against Lopez. Alexa Grasso versus Rose Namajunas. That's another good fight. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Davison Figueiredo. Another good fight. And Atiba Gauthier fighting Audrey Puliaev. Gauthier is is on fire. I don't know a lot about Puliaev. I'll look him up, but Gauthier, that he's the first cut. What are they trying to do on this? They're trying to gain interest. They're trying to get subscribers, and Gauthier will bring that. And then Nurmagomedov Figueiredo, we'll see how Nurmagomedov does this. I think Nurmagomedov could kind of use more striking against a Figueiredo and make that more exciting. I think all these fights are built to be exciting, so I think that's why they went with it. I don't know what people think about it, other than some of the experts I've been seeing, all the big journalists. But I don't have a problem with the card. Plus, it's on Paramount Plus. I know it's not pay-per-view. I don't have to shell out $80 to watch this. It's part of my subscription. And shout out to Paramount Plus. They give me 50% off for being a veteran. I completely appreciate that as well. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with this card. I like it, and I know why they're doing it. Or at least I believe I know why they're doing it. Anytime I get to see Justin Gaethje, it's a win for me. Yeah, I can see why people are a little bit upset, especially Arman Tsarukyan. It's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. He is really good. He didn't take that. He had to pull out of that fight against Makhachev, we're not going to, and that sucks. We're never going to see him against Makhachev again. Makhachev barely beat him the first time. That was when he was brand new. So we'll never get to see that fight now. It seems. And then Topuria Sarukian. We'll never, I don't think we'll ever see Topuria. And people have been talking about Topuria fighting Makhachev. That's why. Before there's so much to do at lightweight for Topuria. He's got other people to deal with. I don't think he should be looking at Makhachev right now unless he's going to completely relinquish the belt and then open it up. But then that would be a shame because I want to see what happens with Sarukian versus Topuria. I actually think Sarukian versus Topuria is a better fight than Makhachev versus Sarukian. But Sarukian is he's a good fighter, man. And I don't know what's going to happen with him against Topuria. That's a tough fight for Topuria. It's so we'll see what happens with that. And there's a lot going on in the UFC and these weight classes. UFC 325 later, it's like a week later. A week later, you got another pay-per-view, and they've announced the main event. It's going to be the champion Alexander Volkanovski versus Lopez 2. And a lot of people are upset about that, but I'm not gonna get into why people don't like Diego Lopez getting this fight, even though he had a great fight against John Silva. All right, so when we come back, I'm gonna get into it. The Benavidez card on DAZN. Luckily, I was able to see that card for the most part at a friend's giving. So I'll get into some boxing news when we come back. All right, we're back here with the Ranch Boxing Podcast, and we're actually going to get into a little bit of boxing news because there was a decent card, and I'm not going to get into it with like everybody else thinking it was a really good card. Oh, this card, this and that. I don't see it. I actually thought it was a decent card. Do I think it's pay-per-view worthy? No. We're going to get into that as well, and I want to see what people think about that. So it was David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. Benavidez winning with a 7th round TKO over Yarde. And then on the undercard, Devin Haney with a comeback fight looking just like he used to before the Ryan Garcia fight, beating Brian Norman Jr. by unanimous decision, 114, 113, 117, 110, 116, 111, 114, 113. From what I saw, that was ridiculous. As much as, whatever I think of Devin Haney and the kind of fighter he is, that was ridiculous. He won that fight, and he completely handled Brian Norman Jr. This was the only fight on this card that I was like, I don't know who's gonna win, and I was kind of leaning towards Brian Norman Jr. But that's the only fight on that card that I didn't know who was gonna win, and that we'll talk about that a little bit later. Jesse Bam Rodriguez beating Fernando Martinez with a 10th round knockout. Bam Rodriguez, he continues his conquering of boxing, being one of the best pound for pound fighters in the sport. A lot of casuals don't know him. Experts do. But if you don't know who Jesse Bam Rodriguez is, you're going to want to get to know this guy. He is very good. And just being able to see him on this card is probably worth a little bit of cash. A hot prospect turned champion WBO lightweight title. Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes, and he wins by unanimous decision. Abdullah Mason looking pretty good. 117, 111, 115, 113, 115, 113. A little close for Sam Noakes. Hopefully Abdullah Mason can he gets back and because he looked dominating early in his career. We'll see how his championship career transpires. So this card was on DAZN. I don't get DAZN, and I was able to see this at a friend's house. Luckily, because I'm not the kind of person that is going to shell out $20, $25 a month for DAZN to watch boxing that is okay, and then having to shell out another, let me see, $60 for a pay-per-view like this. Now, I heard people talking about like, oh, this is a solid card. This is this. Okay, it is a solid card, but let's not get it twisted. At best, this is an HBO World Championship boxing card at best back in the day. If it was, I would say it's not that. It's more like a boxing after dark. Benavidez Yarde. Oh, okay. Dude, Yarde, he lost to Kovalev. He every time he gets up to the top fighters, he can't do it. I did. I never thought Benavidez was ever going to lose to Yarde, and I never thought he was actually going to have a hard time with Yarde. And I actually saw a few rounds. I was like, dude, Benavidez, maybe he's not as good as I thought he is, because I thought Yarde actually landed some decent shots, and this was very few and far between. Benavidez never had a problem with him, and I knew that was going to happen. Rodriguez, as good as Jesse Bam Rodriguez is, I never thought he was going to lose against Martinez, and he never had a problem with Martinez and ends up knocking him out. I like seeing knockouts too. I do, but it's not compelling. Why am I shelling out $60 to see something I can already tell you who's going to win? The only one I didn't know was Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. But one thing I did know about this, I knew that this fight was kind of going to, I don't want to call it a snoozer, but I knew it wasn't going to be anything super exciting. There was a knockdown in it. Devin Haney knocked down Brian Norman Jr. in the second, and when I saw that, I was actually quite surprised, pleasantly. But that's the only fight. You got 4 fights here that are on this card, and they're going to charge you $60 for it. And the only one that is even a little bit in question is Devin Haney against Brian Norman Jr. And the only reason that is in question is because Devin Haney looked a little gun shy in his last fight after his loss to Ryan Garcia, which didn't even count. So why are you charging people so much money for this type of fight? Which leads me to where is boxing? What are they doing? UFC just got a huge contract with Paramount Plus. All their pay-per-views are going to be on Paramount Plus. Their fight nights are going to be on Paramount Plus. Some will be on CBS. But either way, the UFC is making their sport available. And I'm not even going to talk about affordability here, because I'm just a I'm not a journalist. I don't do this. This isn't my job. Okay. I'm a fan, and I do this just for the fun of it. And I like doing UFC because it's constant. It's constant. And why DAZN is they charge you so much money. They just came out with a new package here. I'm going to bring it up here. They just came out with a new ultimate package because they're like, okay, we'll give you all the pay-per-views, which their pay-per-views are mediocre at best. You know, they're not great pay-per-view cards. And one of their big pay-per-view stars is Anthony Joshua, and he got bought out for one fight to fight Jake Paul this month. And we'll talk about that fight too. So you got DAZN, who's going to charge you $44.99 a month, or $449, $450 a year for their ultimate package that gives you everything. Now, I guess if you're into soccer and all that stuff, yeah, it might be, maybe it's worth it. Maybe, I don't know. But as far as boxing fans go, I can't get behind this, man. I can't do this on principle alone. You can't. I'm not going to shell out $500, $450 a year for that kind. Now, if you're giving me like pay-per-views that are sick pay-per-views, good fights constantly, maybe. But with the current climate of boxing, I seen Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez going back, and I hear, oh, they're gonna fight. I don't, as I stand now, I don't even pay attention to that because I don't even know if these fights are real. I don't know if they're really gonna fight or they're just talking crap to each other. I don't know if that fight is actually gonna come to fruition, because these boxers are up and down. And I saw Teofimo talking about like, oh, we lost our twin towers, Showtime and HBO. You did, and DAZN is just not. They're falling up. I don't know if they're falling apart. Who can afford this? This from DAZN, and they were saying that they were going to kill pay-per-view. Pay-per-view was dead. I know that was a complete lie. I know that we've realized that that's a complete lie a long time ago, but they just keep upping it. And it's really hard to keep up with boxing lately. And this is why we don't cover it as much. I would love to, because boxing is my favorite sport. I like it more than the UFC, but I can't even get behind them because I don't get DAZN. It's too freaking expensive. The pay-per-views on top of that is too freaking expensive. And for what? Fights that I already know who's going to win? I don't need to see that. I don't need to be ordering that. I'll watch them sooner or later, like a week later. I'll catch them somewhere. It's not like I don't get to see them. I do get to see them just a week later, and I don't need to see them live because what for? I don't know who's gonna win already, except for that obviously the David Haney fight. Yeah, I didn't know who's gonna win. I'm not gonna lie. What do you guys think? Are you guys willing to fork out this much money for boxing? I don't know. I have hard enough time, getting people to come into the boxing gym, for not much money and just to train. And you're telling me that if you're a boxing fan, you've got to fork out this much. It's not the same. And it's just the presentation. I don't even think it's that great. The promotion is not even that great. So, like I said, I think this is ridiculous. I'm not getting the zone. I'm not dealing with that anymore. I'm not going to get this ultimate package. I'll try to keep up with boxing as best I can, but I can't. I'm not going to be doing this. This is just too crazy. I think it's out of control. Now, that being said, on Netflix in December, it was supposed to be Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. Now, usually I don't like these circus fights. I'm not a big fan of these circus fights. The whole Tyson thing, it was kind of like, ugh. I don't like to see. I didn't want Tyson to get in there. I don't need to see anybody out of there. I just didn't want to see that. Also, and I don't know who would get hurt. I don't know where Tyson was. I don't want to see Tyson get hurt. I don't want to see Jake Paul get hurt either. And it seemed like Tyson wasn't either gonna hurt Jake Paul or he didn't want to. I don't know. Or maybe Jake Paul, maybe he didn't want to hurt Tyson. I don't know what was going on. I don't know how good Jake Paul is. I know he's been boxing for 5 years, and I know some of the guys he's fought are just names. And what are you gonna do? Fine, he can do what he wants to do. I don't have a problem with that, except when if you start holding up real fights, then I have a little bit of problem with it. Now, I do have a little bit of problem with him fighting Tank Davis, because Tank Davis is a champion and he was supposed to fight Roach. That doesn't happen. He takes his fight. I think that's ridiculous. Roach, they should have had that. I think Tank Davis should have been stripped immediately, and then he can go on and do what you want. If you want to take a circus fight, or if you want to take another fight that makes no sense, go ahead. Leave the title where it is and go do what you want. Don't become a champion then. You can take any fight you want if you're not a champion, because you're not holding up the division. But Lamont Roach should have been the champion from that first Tank Davis fight, and then when they have to fight again, Tank Davis finds a way out of it. Okay, and then he's supposed to fight Jake Paul, and the promotion sucked. Jake Paul's fault. I think Gervonta Davis looked like he wasn't into it, and I wasn't really interested in the fight anyways. I think a fighter like Tank Davis should have zero problems with a guy like Jake Paul. He's been fighting for 5 years, and I know he's got like a lot of resources and probably a really good trainers, but Tank Davis is not. He's really good. As much as I talk crap, I don't like this, I don't like that. He's really good. And if you've ever sparred smaller guys, does it matter a little bit, but their skills should get them, you're better. So that fight is supposed to happen. I'm not super interested in it. It's on Netflix. One thing about Jake Paul, and this is where I think he should concentrate, MVP Promotions. I think Jake Paul is a really good promoter. The cards on Netflix look really good. They're except for how long it takes for the fights to actually happen. The presentation itself, I think I don't want to say it rivals HBO. It certainly is at least on par or a little bit better than Showtime. And I like how he does it. I like how he's into it. I like his promoter hat. As a fighter, all right, I see a few things in Jake Paul that I'm not sure about. And I know he's only been doing this 5 years. And then what happens? So Tank Davis is out. And then they bring in Anthony Joshua. Now, when I say I don't want to see anybody get hurt, I mean it. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. And if this fight is on the up and up, if it's a real fight, I'm not saying any of these fights are fake. I don't know. I don't want to call anybody out. But I'm saying if this is a real fight, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I certainly don't want to, and I don't think I have to worry about Anthony Joshua, but Jake Paul could he could not want to fight anymore after this if it's a real fight. So I have a theory about these circus fights. I think, they get the interest of the public because people want to believe. people want to believe that you can take a person who has not trained or been in boxing a long time and they can learn really quick, you know, and then they can get in there with the top guys in boxing and be able to, compete with them or even beat them. And maybe people don't know a lot about boxing. Okay, maybe you don't. But it's kind of like if you are a good high school baseball player or a good high school hitter, good, not great, like a good high school hitter. And then you go and like the best pitcher in the major leagues starts pitching to you. You see things, and I'm not even sure high school is enough. You might be in like little league. It might be that's how big the discrepancy usually is. You just can't get in there with top talent and make it competitive. It just it on my ear, it doesn't really happen. If you have ever sparred or even messed around with somebody uh who is at a professional level, and I'm not see anybody can be a professional boxer. You don't even have to be good. You can just get the license. But I'm talking about a real top 10, top guy in the sport. And Anthony Joshua certainly is one of the top heavyweights in the world. He's not a champion, but he is a top guy. So is Gervonta Davis. So is Canelo Alvarez. It's like saying, like, I weigh 170 pounds. It's like me being like, well, I'm going to get in there because I've trained a little bit. And at my age, I'm going to get in there with Canelo Alvarez. And I shouldn't get completely blown out. No, and I weigh 170. He weighs 168. It doesn't matter. I can come in at 200, and Canelo Alvarez would completely smoke me in a way that I wouldn't even see it coming. I would wake up, in 2 days and not know what hit me. And you can train all you want. You have to have the talent and you have to have the discipline to get it. It's tough to do. It's not an easy thing to do. So I'm not sure if I completely agree with this. If this is real or not. Look, if it lasts more than 2 rounds, I'll give Jake Paul the benefit of the doubt. If he can last 2 rounds, then it's then it's over. Then yeah, maybe it was a real fight. But there's no way that Anthony Joshua it should last more than 1 or 2. He had Ngannou. I actually think Jake Paul and Ngannou would have been a good fight because Ngannou, he doesn't have a lot of training in boxing. I know he used to be a little bit, but he's we saw what happened with him and Anthony Joshua, and that's right on. That's right where it should be. Yeah, you could probably get through first round, maybe, and then this by the second they'll figure you out and they'll know exactly what to do. And I hope Jake Paul doesn't get hurt if this is on the up and up. If this thing lasts 12, what is it, 10, 8, whatever it is, that's gonna suspend my disbelief a lot. I don't know about that. It just that's a that might bring things into question. People could say like, "Oh, Jake Paul, he's actually really good." I'm like, "Okay, you want to believe that," but it's Anthony Joshua he's a gold medalist. He's a gold medalist, former champion. He fought Usyk twice, and Alexander Usyk is probably one of the most skilled heavyweights, one of the most skilled boxers ever. And I'm not just saying that because he's the champion right now. Now, do I think he's the best heavyweight ever? No. I think there's some heavyweights out there in time that could have beat him. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about his skill. His skill is unbelievable. And Joshua lost to him, but he didn't get stopped. He lasted, all 12 with him. That's hard. A guy who can do that with Usyk, and then what? He's gonna go 8, 10 with Jake Paul. No. It just, come on. That's not. To me, that's not living in reality. And people can say what they want. I've never seen someone in 5 years go from no boxing experience to, being able to compete with somebody like Anthony Joshua. Now, if you tell me that Jake Paul is like as good as maybe a top amateur in his weight class, maybe top amateur, I don't know about that, but like a decent amateur, yeah, okay, I'll believe that, maybe a little bit, but I have to see it, and you'd have to be fighting like every week. That's what amateurs do; they fight like every freaking week, or at least a few times a month, uh, and that's what they do. So it's not like professional fighting at all. And like I said, anybody can be a professional. You just have to get the license. That really means you don't have to. If you want to be a professional baseball player, you have to get to that level. In boxing, it's not. You just get the license. Boom. I could be a professional boxer right now. I just have to go get my license, and I could be a professional. That doesn't mean I'm good. All right. Same thing here. Just because you get that license doesn't mean you're good. Doesn't mean you're ready. So, but it's gonna be a show. I haven't made my mind up on whether I'm gonna watch it. Maybe. I mean, I have Netflix, so I I just don't want to see anybody. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, even Jake Paul. I don't want to see him get hurt. And people saying like, "Oh, people don't tune in just to see him get knocked out." All right, that if he gets knocked out, that's actually the best case scenario. I don't want to see him get hurt. I would like him to continue, fighting names and Chavez Jr. Okay, that's fine. Chavez Jr. He's not a champion. Fight him. Anderson Silva, cool. Fight him. Those are all fights. Yeah. Go ahead and fight those people. Those are the fights to take, or to take and to make. But someone like Anthony Joshua is not. It. We'll see. I think it might be hard for Anthony Joshua to. The reason I think it might take more than one round is I think he'll get in there and just kind of like, I don't know if you would feel bad about, just completely dropping some fool that quick. It's like getting into if someone like me got into the ring with with my 7-year-old. It's really not like you don't want to completely destroy them that fast. Just because you're completely unthreatened. I think there was a little bit more threat in the Tank Davis, even though I think the acumen that Davis has is way too much for would have been way too much, but we'll never see it good because Tank Davis should never been in that fight anyways. He needs to fight Roach, or he needs to just leave if he doesn't want to fight anymore. So that's where we're at with boxing. As you can see, you have overpriced pay-per-view cards. You have overpriced subscriptions. Top Rank is completely out of the mix for right now. I don't know where they're putting their fights at. The ESPN is done with boxing for the moment. I'm not even renewing my ESPN because they're done with UFC. They're done with boxing. So I'm pretty much done with them until something else happens. But it's bleak days for boxing, and it seems like sky's the limit right now for UFC. And I wish the PFL would grow on people a little bit more. Not that I'm a big fan of the PFL, but at least it's a league and they're doing things. I wish boxing was more like that, and that's why I'm actually more open to TKO boxing when they start doing their thing, and if they're on Paramount Plus, I'll be totally about that, and hopefully that makes other boxers get more active. Like I said, I don't even know if the Shakur Stevenson Teofimo Lopez fight is actually going to happen because all I hear is talking. It's not no one signs contracts. There's no date set. There's no nothing. And even then, when they do that, you don't even know if this fight's going to happen. I don't really trust it. These guys want the moon. They want everything, and they want all this money. At least Ryan Garcia, I think he is fighting Mario Barrios. For a championship. I think that's actually set. Good on good for Golden Boy to get that fight done. And Garcia actually has a title shot after. Is he coming off a loss? That's a little weird. So against Rolly Romero. Anyways, so what I'm saying is I don't know where we're gonna go with boxing from here. I wish they acted more like the amateurs, and just fought more. And they did it for. I know that it's a profession and they need to get paid for it. That's fine, but it's gotten too crazy. I can't even follow. I can barely follow the sport because of all the craziness and shenanigans that they're putting up. All right, that's enough for me this week. I mean, I see. I hate that every time I start talking about boxing, almost start getting upset because of all the things that go on, and they think that boxing fans are completely made of money, and I think they bilk as much as they can from people. But hopefully they get it together. I'm hoping there's a resurgence for boxing, and we could just start seeing fights more often, good fights. I thought Turkey would help out. It seems like he's been a little bit absent. He completely lied about the Benavidez Yarde not being pay-per-view. That was oversaid. See, when it comes down to it, it seems like these people make it seem like they have all the money in the world and money isn't a factor. But in fact, it completely is. And they don't want to, they can't give an inch. They can't give an inch to these fans. That's why I'm not, I'll see the fight because I like it. But I don't have to pay to see it live. And if I need to talk about it, I'll talk about it after the fact. Because to be honest, a lot of these fights too, they're hardly worth talking about. Uh, the cards are hardly stacked. It's usually one decent card or one decent fight on a card, and that's about it. And I don't have to worry about the UFC. And I don't get that. I don't get anything from the UFC. So if anybody's thinking like, oh, he's such a UFC fanboy, I'm not. I like the UFC. I am. I'm a fanboy, but I'm not. They don't give me anything. If they end up sucking, if the UFC starts doing this, believe me, I'd be the first one to say the UFC is going the way of boxing. And I actually think that that's not the case. That's why they put these exciting fights sometimes ahead of the rankings. Now, do I agree with that? It is kind of jacked up. What do rankings really mean? That's a whole other conversation. But it's a business, but you got to make it exciting. And then they do things like they get on a platform like Paramount Plus and they make it available. And as you make it available, it becomes more and more popular. Like boxing was there one time when it was available. People watched it. It got super popular. It got so popular to the point where now you can't see it without forking out $450, and you can't. And these fights can't even get made because boxers are getting paid so much freaking money. All right, I don't want the UFC to ever get to that point because it's a league. It probably won't, but who knows what happens. I'm actually looking forward to TKO boxing. People have a lot of hate from TKO boxing. I do not, because if the system of boxing wasn't broken, a solution wouldn't be needed. And when you create the room for a system like TKO boxing to come in, like a league type of boxing, then that's on you. That's on the PBC. That's on DAZN. That's on whatever Eddie Hearn. God, I can't. I'm trying to think about what his promotion company. I forget. Either way, it's on Top Rank and Golden Boy. Make the fights. Please don't charge an arm and a leg for them, and find ways for it to be available. At least Turkey has done a little bit, and he makes some fights available on ringmagazine.com. So that's kind of cool. I'm not completely I'm gonna say done with Turkey. I think he's been good for boxing. I think he's just taking a step back, or maybe he's concentrating more on TKO. All right. So that's going to be it for today. I know it ran long, but you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can just watch it in increments or listen here and there. But it was more for practice. I wanted to get back on. And like I said, hey, I never thought this would be a problem. I've been trying to get some amateurs or some people in the amateur boxing business, or with USA Boxing. I've been trying to interview people, and I actually never thought it would be that hard, other than no one wants to get interviewed for a podcast that no one watches. But I thought people would be a little bit more interested. So if anybody's seeing this, if you're in amateur boxing at all, if you're an athlete, or if you're a coach, or if you have anything to say about amateur boxing, even if you want to talk about USA Boxing, their recent price hikes, officiating, things like that. If you have something to say and you want to be on, man, hit me up, throw a comment in there. And if you have a comment about anything, UFC, a question, throw it in the comment, and I'll read it I'll read it live. I'll read it online. I'll do that. I promise, like every single one. Because right now we have none. I'm not going to lie. We don't have any. So if you want to make a comment or ask a question in the comment section, I'll read it. And if A-Dog's here, we'll both answer it. I want to get people engaged. I know a lot of people don't watch. That's fine. Cause I do it more for the fun of it. But if you do watch it and you have a comment or you have a question, especially, and you need that needs to be answered, let us know. I'll completely answer it, and I'll bring it up. I'm not saying I'll answer a few. I'm saying like any question there, boom, I'll do it. And if you want to be interviewed, and try to get out on social media more, let me know. I'll interview you. I'll see who you are. If you are from Connecticut and you box amateurs and you just want to get out as much as you can, let me know. If you're from Tucson, Phoenix, LA, I don't care. Hit me up, and I'll certainly do that. I never thought it would be so difficult to get people to get on camera, but I guess people have a little bit of shyness about getting on camera. We'll see. I'll try to get someone from Gene Lewis. Some people who maybe went to the Gene Lewis tournament in Phoenix a little while ago. I heard that tournament went really well. A lot of champions. I saw a lot of pictures and stuff like that. It looked like it was a good event. I wish I could have been there. Unfortunately, I can only officiate so much. I wish I had more time for it, and I wish I could get to Phoenix a little bit more often. All right. So that's going to be it for us today. Please, like I said, hit me up if you have anything to say, and I will try to get A-Dog in here with us, and we'll make this show a little bit tighter when he's here. I don't go off on rants as much because he's a lot better at sticking to the cards. He kind of rings me in, and he corrects me on a lot of things. Hopefully, I didn't get anything completely wrong. I had all my my tabs up here, trying to make sure I'm not getting anything wrong. All right. So thanks again for watching. If you do watch it, thanks again for watching, or at least part of it. All right. So we will see you hopefully soon on the next one.